And good afternoon, everyone. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. My name is Jim, and this is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. This is a directed network, and I am net control. If at any time during this net should an emergency arise, please notify net control, and we'll stand by and allow those in need to access this frequency. Is there any priority or emergency traffic at this time? And hearing nothing, we will continue. This net is all about ham radio and being all that you can be. That's what our Qso-Vlog network is all about, trying to help people achieve the best sounding station possible. Thanks for dropping by. FYI, my background is 50 years in commercial broadcasting, where a lot of big bucks are spent on audio processing equipment and getting it set up correctly to get the best sounding station possible. Well, long story short, when I became a ham radio operator, I could hear immediately a large discrepancy in on-air technical proficiency. A lot of stations were running with very poor mic equalization, very muddy, with little articulation. And as I continued to work stations, I realized most of the stations were also running very low average peak modulation, many around 30% of average peak modulation. So with my background, I felt I could help, or at least try. I knew that most modern-day ham transceivers did have enough onboard processing equipment to be able to handle most all of the problems. So it would just be a matter of developing a generic dynamic range setup procedure and then adjusting the onboard EQ gear. And so I started the Qso-Vlog network with the phrase, "If you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout." And today we're currently featuring over 3,200 Qso-Vlog Aircheck recordings. And you can access these recordings by going to YouTube and doing a call letter search for KC9VKV followed by the word logbook. That's Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor followed by the word logbook. And we also have a newer series called KC9VKV Highlights. That's Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor followed by the word highlights on a YouTube search. These are some of our less technical and more human nature philosophical kinds of QSOs. That's KC9VKV followed by the word highlights on a YouTube search. Both KC9VKV Logbook and KC9VKV Highlights are segments of our main YouTube homepage of Jim's Radio Story, where we celebrate a 50-year career in commercial broadcasting. A 50-year journey from a 5-watt pirate radio station as a 12-year-old to production director of a major 50,000-watt AM broadcast facility. And the thing that makes this truly a unique story is that I have all the actual masters from all along the way. Over 2,600 shows, including many full-length major music concerts and radio documentaries. You'll have to check it out and subscribe. Jim's Radio Story on a YouTube search. Our mission statement for the Qso-Vlog network is to establish a higher technical level of radio transmissions of the human voice by the intelligent utilization of available electronics and current amateur radio transceivers. Our setup, while generic in nature, converts the average 10 dB dynamic range transmitter with an average 30% of peak modulation to a much fuller 3 dB dynamic range with an average 80 to 85% of peak modulation. This substantial boost in audio transmit level is extremely beneficial in high noise levels and heavy QRM. It allows you to punch through when others fail. The second part of our transmitter setup has to do with proper mic equalization. We're looking to optimize the transmitted voice for a higher degree of intelligibility through the use of EQ patterns that bring out the articulation aspects of the human voice. Again, why need to hear the voice if you can't understand the words? Also this afternoon on the receive side, we'll be running 5 Internet SDR receivers, monitoring New York, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Virginia specifically. And in addition, we're running our newer number 5 Hocus Pocus Internet SDR receiver, loaded with 50 additional pre-programmed Internet SDR locations spread out over 20 states across the eastern half of the United States, trying to get the best copy from our 100-watt friends. Now, the audio from these 5 SDRs comes up on a 6-position rotary selector. Also in the selector is our local receiver audio, and today our local receiver is running 3 large 10-foot vertical magnetic loop antennas. Also today on the transmit side, we'll be running our NOSWR specially oriented resonant tuned dipole antenna. One leg of this resonant tuned dipole antenna runs broadside to Montreal, Canada. The other leg runs broadside to Miami, Florida. As we were constructing our station, our mantra was 20 over for Montreal to Miami with a hotspot through the Carolinas. And although conditions may vary, the general performance of this antenna supports its mission. Also today we'll be running our input source indicator, so when we switch from an Internet SDR receiver to our local receiver, you'll be able to hear the switch and see the switch. You'll have to check it out on our YouTube Qso-Vlog video. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. And now, with all that being said, let's open it up and see who's out there. If you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout.
Victory Papa, it's Charlie Papa.
Charlie Papa, go ahead. Give me that call sign fully.
Yes, Victor Echo 3 Papa, Charlie Papa. Good afternoon, Jim.
Roger, Roger. What's going on up that way?
Oh, well, you know, it's not too much. It's kind of drizzly and rainy this afternoon and cold. It's getting colder. It's getting, closer to winter by the day. Go ahead.
Roger, Roger. What you been up to?
Oh, you know, working and cutting some time on the radio and just trying to get the most of the life, yourself.
Oh, Roger, Roger. So what's the current temperature up there, out of curiosity?
Currently it is 7 degrees Celsius and raining.
Roger, Roger. Hey, well, what radio are you running today, Rob?
I'm in my vehicle headed home, going through my remote station, so I have a different vehicle now, so the audio may sound a little bit different, but it's still connected to Bluetooth in the vehicle.
Yeah, Roger. So you're en route today? Yes, I'm on my way home from work and going through my remote station at home, QSO. Roger, Roger. Well, I think you've got all the bugs worked out of that thing. It just sounds beautiful. Oh, very good. Well, I appreciate that very much, and I won't hold it up. I just wanted to jump in and say good afternoon. Haven't talked to you in a while, so I hope that all is well with you, and if I don't talk to you before, you have a happy Thanksgiving next weekend. Back to you. Roger, Roger, and I'm copying you on not the normal PA SDR, but this is a secondary PA SDR. I don't know what's wrong with the normal one. It's just not coming up. But this one's doing all right. It sounds like about 10 over, Roger. Very good, very good. I'm getting a bit of an echo in your voice. I'm not sure whether it's on my end or your end, but anyway, still able to copy this. Roger, Roger. You figure it's coming around the other way, and they're both colliding? You never know. It's hard to say, that's for sure. But anyway, I'll let you carry on there, Jim. Good time this afternoon. 7-3 and all the best. KC9VKV, V3PCP. Roger, Roger. 73 up that way, and you have a stay warm and join us next Friday. We'd love to have you. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Mike Delta November.
Station ending in November. Come back with your call sign again, please. Ending in November. Come back with your call sign again, please.
Yes, Jim, this is Victor Alpha 3, Mike Delta November. Victor Alpha 3, Mike Delta November.
Roger, Roger. What's the name there? Roger, Roger. What's the name there?
My name is Michael.
Roger, Michael, and what's your location? Roger, Michael, and what's your location?
Yeah, the location is Ontario, southwest of London, Ontario, probably about 30 kilometers approximately, a little place called Muncie, Ontario. Over.
Roger, Roger, and what radio are you running today? Roger, Roger, and what radio are you running today?
Yes, I'm running the Kenwood 570. I do believe it is. It's been a while since I've talked to you. Visually impaired on this end, so the radio here.
Roger, Roger. I just checked my local antenna. I don't have a copy on you on my local antenna, but I'm copying you on my PASDR, Roger. But I'm copying you on my PASDR, Roger.
Oh, Roger, on the PA. All right, that sounds cool. Yeah, it's been a while since last time I talked to you, and I happened to be been in the VFO when I heard you testing your SDR, so sat around and listened.
Roger, Roger, if you might be interested in our setup procedure starts with you are looking to see if you're in that 100 to 2900 transmit bandwidth TVW called wide 100 to 2900. Roger, Roger. 100 to 2900. Roger, Roger.
Oh, Roger, I'm not too sure on that button, but I think I might. That one right there, I don't know if that's it or not. I'm assuming that's what it is. Over.
Roger, Roger. I'm sure your book will probably tell about it on your radio, you know, but we want to be in the maximum resolution for that transmitter, and that is 100 to 2900. Now, you could go wider than 2900, but what happens is you start running into other folks' conversations. So we just suggest 100 to 2900 and gives you just a slice of daylight before you're into somebody else's conversation. Roger? Before you're into somebody else's conversation. Roger?
Oh, Roger, on that. Yeah, I'm not too sure on that. I'll have to get Vincent when she gets home from work to look at the radio and see what that button actually does. So I'm not sure if it's going to wide on there. Over.
Roger, are you running a remote now? Roger, are you running a remote now?
No, negative. I'm just using 100 watts. Converted to about 50 feet. I do it 45. Could not get it.
Okay, I've got a little bit of copy on you on my Kentucky SDR, which is, I think, just a little bit better than where I was, Roger. Which is, I think, just a little bit better than where I was, Roger.
Oh, copy on it, Kentucky.
So if we moved on with our setup, I noticed that your width of is about 4 dB, and what we want to do maybe be close that up to about 3 dB as far as dynamic range is concerned. Which, if we were to be at 3 dB, your average percent of peak modulation would be 80 to 85%. It involves a couple of things. Maybe running your limiter, your compressor processor at about a 3 out of 10 or 30 out of 100. That's what we suggest. If you get much past that, up into a 6 or something, you start to get a pump up between words, which doesn't do anybody any good. So we suggest a 3 out of 10 or a 30 out of 100. Roger?
10 or a 30 out of 100. Roger?
Oh, roger on that.
And then we move to the ALC and with mic gain in hand. And as you say the magic word audio, you become a human test generator. And we want that, with mic level set to adjust the ALC meter until it reads 2/3. So it's 2/3 on the ALC meter as you say the word audio and adjust your mic gain control.
Word audio and adjust your mic gain control.
Okay, copy on that. Yeah, I'm going to have to do that one.
Roger, Michael. I don't have a good enough copy on you to be able to check your EQ. It's you're not quite strong enough to be able to be clear enough to me to suggest EQ settings. Roger.
Clear enough to me to suggest EQ settings. Roger.
Roger on that one.
Maybe next Friday conditions will be better and we'll be able to make contact and I can give you some suggestions on EQ settings. Roger.
Some suggestions on EQ settings. Roger.
All right, Jim, sounds good. Much appreciated. Every little bit helps. I'll get this
Roger, Michael. Well, 73, sir. You have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend, and hopefully we'll catch you next weekend. If you want to hear your audio of what we've got of it, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook, that will take you to this recording. It'll be cut number 1 in a series of 3,200, and I'll have it uploaded to YouTube by noon tomorrow. Roger.
And I'll have it uploaded to YouTube by noon tomorrow. Roger.
Roger. All right, Jim, KC9, Mr. Kilo, this is Victor Alpha 3, Mike Alpha November 73, I think.
Roger, sir. 73 to you, sir. Have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
KA4ZZZ.
ZZZ station, come back slowly phonetically with your call sign.
ZZ station, come back slowly phonetically with your call sign.
Yes, it's KA4ZZZ.
Roger, sounds like somebody's sleeping. What's the name there?
Sounds like somebody's sleeping. What's the name there?
The name is David, and I'm located in Georgia. And you helped me, I think, a couple years back when I was KA5DJS. But I haven't changed the transmitter since you helped me adjust it. I'm wondering how it sounded on your end. Go ahead.
Roger, David, why don't you give me about 10 or 15 seconds, tell me about your antenna system. Let me look around and see if I can find a better copy for us.
Let me look around and see if I can find a better copy for us.
Oh, okay.
East of Atlanta. Sounded vertical. Now, the last time that we chatted, I was on this vertical antenna, and it was way up in the air. So your copy was probably much better than it is now. But I'm on a 25-foot ground-mounted vertical with about 24 elements or 24 radios buried in the ground.
Roger, David, I've got you on my local antenna. That's the 7300 working a dipole, and you're about 10 over, coming and going a little bit, Roger.
Hey, Roger, I'm not running any power. I don't have the amplifier on, so I'm just running just the radio. And you'd helped me out years back, set this 7300 up, and I really haven't changed anything on it other than, well, I've changed the transmit, sometimes, and the bandwidth to play with. But right now it is at 12900, where you had me set it before. Go ahead.
Roger, sounds really good. Yes, it does. Sounds real good. And your dynamic range seems to be about 3 dB, which is what we want. So that means your average percent of peak modulation is 80 to 85%. And gosh, it sounds just beautiful, Roger.
Roger, on that. I don't think I'm quite at 100 watts. Of course, I never run the radio. I'm quite at 100 watts. Of course, I never run the radio full power. I always run around 90 or 95, so that's probably about where I'm at, is 95 watts.
Roger. Now, what would be the philosophy of running it at 95% instead of 100%?
98, 95% instead of 100%.
I just hate running the finals all the way up as max. Hold on a minute here. I'll bump it up a bit here. See if it makes any difference. I'll go up. 1 second here. Okay, hold on. I'll be right back. Okay, that's 100 watts right there.
Roger, can't really tell that much. You went from what, about 80 watts or something to 100?
Sure. You went from what, about 80 watts or something to 100?
Yeah, I went from 95 watts to 100.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't tell any difference. Sometimes if you don't expand by at least 3, somebody will say, hey, did something happen there? It takes about a 3-fold increase to really be able to see it on a meter, Roger.
To really be able to see it on a meter, Roger.
Hey, Roger, on that. Hey, Roger. You would probably notice a difference in if I put my amplifier on.
Oh yes. I would suggest you do that if you would like a good recording. Always put your best foot forward if you want a good air check.
Always put your best foot forward if you want a good air check.
Hey, Roger, on that. Get it warmed up here. Hold on 1 second. Jim Ferguson.
Hello, Lou. Stand by just a minute.
Hello, Mr. Ferguson. Hello, Lou. Stand by just a minute.
Hang on, Lou. I got somebody down in Georgia.
Hang on, Lou. I got somebody down in Georgia.
300 watts. Go ahead.
Oh, you shifted now to 300 watts. Is that a Roger?
Oh, you shifted now to 300 watts. Is that a Roger?
Yeah, I'm running at just a hair over.
Roger. Okay, tell me about your antenna system just for a minute, and let me look around and see if I can find a better path.
Just for a minute, and let me look around and see if I can find a better path.
Okay. Yeah, well, here. So I've been, and it's an HOA, so I've been testing the antenna on the ground. Ground mounted, actually really ground mounted, right near the ground. And the feed point's about 2-3 feet off the ground. And the length of it is 25 feet. Go ahead.
Roger. Sounds good. I got you again on my local antenna. You're about 15 over, Roger.
Hey, Roger. So it went from about 10 to 15 over?
Yes, sir.
No, that's pretty good. That's pretty decent. 5 dB.
Roger, Roger. Yeah, sounds good. And if you would like to hear it, if you go to YouTube and do that call letter search KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook, that'll go to this recording. It'll be cut number 1 in a series of 3200, and I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow. Roger?
Hey, okay. Hey, Roger. Hey, well, I appreciate the check. Hey, like I said, you helped me out with this before, and I really haven't played with any of the settings. I've just left them alone. So, anyway, I'll let you get to somebody else. And I know there'll be other people out there. So, 73, thank you very much again for the check. KA4ZZZ.
Roger, Roger, David, 73, sir. You have a good afternoon, beautiful weekend. And this is KC9VKV, Friday afternoon, Qso-Vlog net. I thought I heard my Elmer back in there.
You did, old man. How are you? Hello, hello, hello.
Yes, sir. Now, I am on my local antenna, and I do not have a real good copy. Where are you?
I'm on the hill on a different antenna right now. I want a phased array right now, 2 verticals, and I'm looking in New York. I'm glad you're hearing me.
Yes, sir. Well, maybe I should go to my, let's see here, maybe I should go to my Pennsylvania antenna or something, Roger?
Well, I'm not sure if the band's long or short. I'm just looking up at... Well, I'm not sure if the band's... I'm just looking up... Yeah, I'm looking at northeast 100 watts, too.
Oh, Roger, where's the box?
It's not plugged in right now.
Oh, gosh, that's what we need.
I need to upgrade the breaker. The breaker's only a 20 double pole. I need to go to a 30 double pole. The wire's number 10. I just don't have everything updated.
I see how you are. Yeah, kind of skipping on the trip fuse.
Well, it trips. You know, when you really tune it up and you hold it down too long, it says see ya.
Roger, Roger. Well, gosh, have to work on that and bring all that stuff up to snuff where you can cruise about with about a kW or so, Roger?
Oh, I agree.
I'm just surprised I didn't have a better copy on you up north. I think that antenna, I think I'm 90 degrees to you on your antenna.
Probably you're on the side of my knoll. That's the problem. You're on the side of my knoll. But 5 over on me, or what do you got?
Gosh, come back and let me look. Talk to me for a minute.
Come back and let me look. Talk to me for a minute. Hello, radio 123. I'm with another 100 watts looking in New York.
You're about 8 over, 10 over, somewhere in there. You know, but that's not a decimeter reading. That's my reading. My receiver's really low RF run-in, so I've got my VU meter set to 0 on the audio, and when you stop talking, I'm looking at the noise, and you're about to 10 over, Roger. I'm looking at the noise, and you're about to 10 over, Roger.
Roger. Yeah, okay. That makes sense to me. 10 over. That sounds good. Yeah, I talked to a station up in, I think his name was WA1QDX or whatever, up in Martha's Vineyard a while ago on AM, over.
Oh, Roger. Now, how'd that go? Now, how'd that go?
I was only put out a 5S unit on each other. We checked for about 10 minutes.
Roger. Now, I think I was copying my Kentucky SDR that last time. Come back and talk to me a little bit more, and let me see on my local dipole what you're doing.
N9GTO, probably getting on the back side of this phased array vertical, over.
Yeah, it still looks about 10 over, but the fidelity, of course, is a lot better on this 7300 than off of the SDR internet receivers, Roger.
Oh, yeah. How you doing? How you feel?
Doing all right. How about you?
I'm hanging in there. I got another infusion to do. I do infusions about every 5 months. Got another infusion to do. That's what's keeping me in here. I guess about the middle of in December, so that takes about a half a day, almost a whole day. Over.
Yeah, Roger. But, gosh, you're sitting around reading Playboy or something.
Yeah, I'm glad that dog don't hunt anymore. It's the best thing in the world.
Yeah, I hear you.
You know, they already have a turn-on point when you're 20, and it turns off at 30. And that way you can get your head together. Over?
So to speak.
Oh, in more ways than one. You know, a woman turns on at 20, turns off at 30, baby making time at 10 years, you can't do it, you're not going to have it.
That's right. It's the way things, weird how things work like that.
It's God really should have done that. I mean, I know he made Adam and Eve, he created the world and everything, but the bottom line is, he should have put a biological time clock on that thing.
Well, I think he did. I think he did put that biological time clock on us.
Well, mine went out about 4 years ago. It's the greatest thing in the world. Sit around and talk to guys and say, you know what best thing ever happened to me? What's that? I said, the got up and go done got up and went. That thing's done gone. It don't hunt anymore.
Roger. Yeah, we're going to get together sometime and talk about that radio station you want to do.
Oh, that would be great. All right, 73, get back to your needs of KC9VKV on the Real Deal Holyfield. Chat with you later, my friend. You know my number, 24/7.
Roger Lou, 73, sir. You have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend. That's my Elmer out there. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Give me a shout.
November 2, Bravo Uniform Echo.
November 2 station, come back slowly phonetically with your call sign.
November 2 station, come back slowly phonetically with your call sign.
November 2, Bravo Uniform Echo. N2BUE.
BUE, Roger, what's the name?
BUE, Roger, what's the name?
Yes, the name is Ron. Romeo Oscar November. Ron in New Jersey, over.
Roger, Ron up in New Jersey. Gosh, why don't you tell me about that antenna system, and let me look around and see if I can find a better location for receiving, Roger.
Location for receiving, Roger.
Yeah, okay. Using today 40-meter all-phase dipole, and it's at the feed points are 35 feet, and it's in the inverted V configuration, and each end's coming down to about 20 foot. Let me see, the total length of the antenna is 66 foot. The long end, I think, is 55, and the short end's 11. Like I said, it's at the 35-foot height at the feed point, Jim, over.
Oh, Roger, and what radio are you running today, Ron?
Okay, Jim. Today I'm running the Yaesu FTEX 101D, and I'm going through the Marathon AL80B amplifier. Looks like about 350 watts, and so that's the radio today. Over.
Roger. Well, I just brought up my Virginia SDR, and you about blew me away, Roger.
Hey, Roger. I'm copying you about an S5 and S5. So that's pretty darn good for this time of day out here to the East Coast, Jim, over.
Roger, and I'm copying you about 20 over on that Virginia SDR, Roger.
Yeah, okay, very good. So it's been a while since I've had contact with you. So So I figured I'd jump in here and say hi at least. And the way the conditions have been, I listen every Friday to your net, but sometimes the conditions that are just not a good copy, so I don't try to even make a contact. But today it's pretty darn good, so I figure I'd give you a shout and see if you hear me. Over.
Oh, yeah, perfect on that Virginia SDR. Have we tuned that radio up? I just wonder if you make sure that's in the wide transmit bandwidth, TBW, wide 100 to 2900?
Wide 100 to 2900? Yeah, Jim, it's, I think, 50 to 2900?
100 to 2900?
100 to 2900? Yeah, let me check here. Hold on a second.
That's really the best situation for that transmitter, the best resolution. 100 to 2900 gives you just a slice of daylight before you're into somebody else's conversation, Roger.
Somebody else's conversation, Roger. Hey, Roger. Am I too loud? Is that what you're saying?
No. This has to do with frequency response. The better the resolution for the transmitter, the better the top-end frequency response. So just out of, comparison, if you were into a lesser mode, say 2500 to 300 to 2500, you'd be losing a lot of your top-end, a lot of your articulation. So what we're looking for is to get maximum top-end resolution out of that transmitter, so you're not only heard but understood. That's is about resolution and articulation, and those are in the upper realm of the frequency band. So we want to maximize the top-end capability of your transmitter, and that's why we want the 100 to 2900 TBW. Roger?
2900 TBW. Roger? Hey, Roger, Jim. Yeah, I just checked. I'm at 100 to 2900. That's my bandwidth, TX bandwidth. 100 to 2900. Over.
Roger. Just perfect. Then that compressor processor at a 3. You could go higher, but then you start getting pump up between the words. So we suggest a 3 on that compressor processor. 3 out of 10 or 30 out of 100, Roger?
10 or 30 out of 100, Roger. Hey, Roger, Jim. Let's see, my processor's at 30, and I have my mic gain at 40, and I'm looking at my ALC. ALC's about 2/3, and if I shout, I tend to get loud. I'm trying to keep my voice at a certain level. So if I keep my voice right at this level, the ALC is 2/3, and it's showing my compression about 5. So that's what I'm looking at right now, Jim. Over.
Roger, your dynamic range is about 3 dB, so your average percent of peak modulation is around 80 to 85%. So just perfect, Roger. And your audio curve is very nice. Could stand just a touch of top end more. Maybe a couple of clicks of treble EQ boost, Roger.
Treble EQ boost, Roger. Yeah, hey, Roger, got you, Jim. Well, on this radio, with I got the EQ on, and it's a lot of, trying to get it set. And also they throw something else in on this radio here, that AMC, automatic mic control, and that's kind of like a fuzzy area also. Where to set it. So I got mine set right now at 70, because the higher, the less it affects it. The lower the number, the more it affects it. So this is a new radio, and I'm still experimenting with it. And the mic EQ is, I'm still phonetic all in with the mic EQ, Jim, over.
Roger, Roger. I'll tell you what, if you were pulled back off mic another 2 inches, maybe from where you are, let me hear that and see what that does to the top end.
Oh, okay, Jim. Yeah, I did. I back off. I'm about, let's see, I'm about 4 inches away from the mic. I was up closer to 2 inches prior when I was talking. Yeah, backed off about 4 inches now, over.
Roger, I would do that because it does a couple of things. I think you might have been close on your, your EQ that way because, we're talking about bass buildup. The closer you get to your microphone, so when you pull back away, you kind of dropped off a little bit of that bass, and it really helps your articulation, Roger.
Your articulation, Roger. Hey, Roger. Okay, Jim. I even backed off a little farther now. I'm about 6 inches away from the microphone, and my ALC is just over 50%. I do see a difference with the ALC and even the compression level. So hopefully, I tend to get up on the mic real close, and as I talk, my voice starts to get loud. So hopefully this helps somewhat. Like I say, I'm still experimenting with the EQ settings on this radio. So it's difficult to get set up, but I'm working at it.
Oh, Roger, Ron. Well, I would say, just keep your ALC out, because I think you're right on target there at 2/3 on your ALC. So just keep your ALC meter out and be looking at that as you're chatting to folks around the world. And you'll be able to, after a while, develop a relationship with your ALC meter and be able to keep it right in that sweet spot just by your voice, Roger.
Hey, Roger, Jim. Yeah, okay, very good. Well, thank you. Thank you for the information and coming back. I'm glad we had a copy today. It's been quite a while. Well, probably over a year, almost close to a year since I've had a contact with you. Probably around last year this time. So, yeah, very good. All right, I'll turn it back to you and let you give someone else a check. So I thank you very much. 73, and you take care out there in your neck of the woods, and hopefully I'll catch up with you again. KC9VKV, N2BUE. Have a good evening, Jim.
Roger, Ron. Now, what was the radio that you had before the 101?
The 101. Oh, yes, it was the FTDX10. I've had a couple radios. I had a 7300, which I still have. I had the FTDX10, and now I'm using this FTDX101D. Over.
Roger, and so you're preferring the 101D and as opposed to the DX10?
What was that, Jim? I didn't catch it.
Roger, you're preferring that 101 as opposed to the DX10?
No, I'm having a static crash, and every time you ask that question, I get a static crash. Ask it again.
Roger, Ron. I was just curious if you like that 101 better than the DX10.
Oh, okay. Got it that time. 100%. I'll tell you the truth, Jim. The DX10 is a very good radio. I like it a lot. The only difference is the size. I'll tell you, the 101 is a very a big radio, so it's nice sitting there, and it's a little more not as compact. But to compare the two, and I still use the 10. I generally use that in the morning, and I got that set up down in the basement. And I'll tell you what, I don't know. That's a tough question. I like the 10, and if it's worth the price difference between the 10 and the 101 for the type of operating I do, I would say no. The 10 would do everything I wanted to do. It's receive. It's just about as good as this 101. But anyway, I just got it in my crawl to get the 101, and I figure, hey, let's do it and check it out. But they're both comparable. The only difference is the size of the radios. Over.
Roger. Well, it just sounds beautiful. I just went around the horn on my SDRs, and I'm copying you best on my Virginia SDR, just like about 15 over. So it really sounds good, Ron. I think whatever you run up there sounds good, Roger.
Whatever you run up there sounds good, Roger.
Hey, Roger, Jim. Yeah. You know, as I get older and I get to a certain stage in my life, I figure, you know, I hear a whole lot about these different radios, and I figure I'd like to check them out. But anyhow, very good, 73, and I'll talk to you later on. KC9VKV. There I am. I'm getting up close to the mic again. I got to back off. Into BUE.
Roger, Ron. Well, you sound good up close to the mic, too. I mean, you know, just wherever you are, you sound good. Don't worry about it. Sounds good. And if you want to hear it, if you go to YouTube and do that call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook, it'll bring up this recording, and this will be cut number 1 in a series of 3,200, and I'll have it uploaded to YouTube by noon tomorrow. Roger?
Uploaded to YouTube by noon tomorrow. Roger?
Hey, Roger, Jim. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll definitely check it out. Always enjoy hearing myself. So keep up the good work. Good hearing you. And like I say, got a good signal coming into the East Coast this afternoon. Conditions are very good. KC9VKV. Into BUE 73, Jim. Have a very good evening.
Roger, Ron. Likewise, sir. You have a real nice evening and a pleasant weekend. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. And if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Kilo Whiskey 4 Echo X-Ray. Pardon me. KW4EX. The name is Gordon, down in Lake Lanier, Georgia.
Roger. I've got you, Gordon, on my local antenna. You look to be about 15 over right at the moment. Roger?
I'll roger that, Jim. You're about 10 over here in Georgia. Beautiful signal coming in this direction.
Roger. I just looked up at my frequency analyzer just at the last of that. Saw activity down around 25 cycles. Roger.
Oh, around 25 cycles. That's interesting. I've got my cutoff right at 100. I don't know why it's not doing better than that, but anyway, you know, you're sounding good here. I don't have you blown up on the scope, but it looks good.
Roger. Well, you sound beautiful. You know, it's tapering off after 100, but there is some activity there. So really sounds good. Now, you can see your audio on the scope?
Yeah, I can. Hang on a second, let me pull up a closer thing. Yeah, it does look like, well, my audio looks like it's really dropping off right around 100 cycles on the scope. But maybe it's audio. Yeah, I'm seeing a little bit down there, but really nothing below the baseband frequency.
Roger, Roger. It looks like about a 45-degree angle. What I'm seeing on my spectrum analyzer is about a 45-degree declination angle from 100 on out. About a 45 degrees, Roger.
Oh, roger that. So am I still staying pretty much within our allocated bandwidth, do you think?
Oh, yeah. I never heard anybody get in trouble for low frequency, you know. But, yeah, it looks good, and you're well contained there, Roger.
Okay, good. Well, I would hope so. I am running pure signal. This is on the Anon. We've spoken before, Jim, and I don't think I've changed the setup since last talked to you.
Yeah, and this is Gordon, right?
That's correct. It is. Good memory. Either that or you've got me in the log.
I remember from last week, I think. You were just beautiful, Roger.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, sir. Same setup and rig. You know, I don't know if you're going to be on long enough, but I do have another microphone that I might like to try, and you know, it'll take me just a moment to switch over for that. So you might want to pick up another client, so to speak, in between. But anyhow, I right now I'm running on the RE320 microphone, but I would like to try not a Heil, but a Jabra headset.
Roger, I just can't imagine that you could possibly get a better sound than where you are right now. You might have a different mic experience, but as far as the technical sound, you have nailed it right here, Roger.
Well, I believe that's with your help, as I might say, and I appreciate that.
Roger. But if you get a chance, is that headset right there?
Yes, it is. It would take me probably 20, 30 seconds maybe to change over.
Well, let's do it. Nothing like right now to do that, Roger. I'll stand by.
All right, this is KW4EX. I will be right back.
This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net, and Gordon is getting his headset plugged in there, and we're going to compare that to his, I guess it was an Electro Voice mic he was running.
Okay, Jim, I have changed over to my Jabra headset. Mic gain might be a little bit hot on this one, but I'm still below the 0 dB mic level on my meters. What does the sound do for us?
Oh, you don't have quite the bottom end that you did before, but you have a nicer, hotter top end in mid-range. So it's got a little more cut to it. The dynamic range is probably about 2.5 dB. So it's a little bit louder than your original microphone, but I would say that would be a good setup for contrasting and DX, Roger?
Roger that. Yeah, it's always difficult when you change microphones. There's always something different that the microphone has in the way of characteristics. And I'm looking here. It looks like my mic level might be running a little bit hot. I'm backing it down 1 dB. Pardon me. I'm running out of breath as I speak.
Roger. I could see that on my spectrum analyzer. I've got a VU meter tied to the audio out of this 7300, and I can tell by the way it hangs as to what the dynamic range is. The hotter you are into your ALC, the less dynamic range you have, and so the meter tends to hang up there as opposed to flipping around like a wet dog, Roger.
Yeah, so dropping at a dB there, did that seem to help a little bit?
Yes, sir. Well, I don't think so. I mean, I liked the way it was when you first came in there. That was nice. It was around 2.5 dB or something as far as dynamic range. So I guess your average percent of peak modulation would have been 85%. Roger.
Oh, okay. Well, if 85%, that's about as much as I would want, I think, in this regard, especially on sideband, the way that we normally talk. And I usually do rag chew type of communications as opposed to really get involved in the contests and so forth, trying to punch through for those elusive stations. But at any rate, I just thought I would check it out. I don't use this headset very often, but I will say it is convenient. Allows me to get up and move around, do things in the shack that I wouldn't normally do while I'm sitting here in front of the RE320.
Roger, Roger. Now, what kind of range do you get out of that headset?
I can go around anywhere in my shack or the next couple of rooms over. I haven't really tried going outdoors with it for any distance because, I run Vox, and if something should trip it, and I would be a little bit nervous doing that. But, a couple hundred feet, I think, would be the max that I would ever try to push it.
Roger, Roger. Gosh, well, you don't need to change anything. You can interchange those two mics right beside each other, one or the other. You don't need to change a thing, Roger.
Oh, roger that. Well, now, I do have different profiles set up in my radio software for each mic. This one, obviously, I've labeled the Jodbra, and the other, the 320. So if I change mics, I do have to click a couple of mouse buttons. But other than that, and unplugging a cable, it's all good to go.
Roger. Well, your EQ points are perfect on each mic. They're just perfect on each mic. I go back to your other mic. I really like that one.
Okay, on the 320. Yeah, take me just a moment to do it, but I will make that change. KW4EX.
Roger, Roger, EX.
Okay, Jim, we're back on the RE320, and this is the Electro Voice microphone.
Oh, yeah, just beautiful. Tell me about what is the radio you're running?
This is the Anon 7000 with the Thetis software.
Roger, is that 7000D?
Yes, I'm sorry. The 7000 DLE Mark III actually is the actual latest 7000 that they make. In fact, it may be the very last serial number they produced. I have my suspicions about that, but it may very well be. All the orders that my buddies placed after mine came in with their G2 model. So I was fortunate to get a 7000, I guess, looking at it from that perspective.
Right, so would you be saying that the later production models are not as good as the 7000 DLE?
No, I would not say that. I don't own one. In fact, I would like to own one, but I do know that the 7000 DLE is good, and I like it a lot. And, I don't really have a compelling reason to change at all.
Oh, absolutely. I would not either. And gosh, if you know how to do that YouTube search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook, it'll take you to this recording. It'll be cut number 1 out of 3200, and I'll have it uploaded tomorrow. And by the way, did you manage to hear your Aircheck from last week?
I did. It sounded good. I was kind of hoping it might have a little more warmth on the low end, but the audio quality I thought was very good, and it probably fits my voice quite well.
Roger. Now, are you listening to that on, what kind of monitor system are you listening to that on?
Well, over the air, I'm listening on Altec Lansing speakers with a subwoofer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what I've got here. Not an Altec Lansing, but it's subwoofers down to about 40 cycles. So, those low frequencies are just so beautiful, Roger.
Roger that. For my station monitor, I'm not running my shack radio speakers. I'm running KLH three-way speakers and using a separate LaPi 20-watt RMS amplifier.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. You don't need more than that. What do you say? You don't have to smoke and drink to have a good time. Roger?
Yeah, Roger. But I will say the fidelity is good and rich, and I enjoy that, especially while I'm working rag chew conversations with friends.
Roger. I don't think a lot of folks think outside the box. I have a couple of things that we talk about on the net for about 60 seconds or so, called Thinking Outside the Box. Well, we do promote, somebody getting a nice house system with a subwoofer and plugging into their speaker out, and really enjoying every ounce of audio that these radios have. Roger?
Well, I agree totally, and I think the quality of audio is, of course, for the benefit of the listener as opposed to the speaker. But it's very interesting how folks on the other end of the microphone, on the front side of the microphone, sometimes don't really consider what their audio quality is coming into my shack, and those that do, I greatly appreciate.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And, I've been experimenting a little bit. I try to keep things as straightforward as possible to get the best recording. I don't run a large front end RF-wise. Matter of fact, it's so low I can't even get the S meter to run. I have to, give a signal like off my VU meter that I have tied to the output, and when somebody stops talking, then I can give them a reading of, I have adjusted their level to 0 level, and when they stop talking, it's the noise, and so I can say they're 10 over my noise level or whatever usually. But I have been experimenting a little bit with DX. Noise reduction. It's one is ANL. I do a little bit of ANL, and experimenting that way. Roger.
When you say the ANL, is that like an automatic noise limiting?
Yes, it's actually let's see how to put it closes down from the top. If there's no content in the top, it closes down, and it's about that way 10 dB quieter. Roger?
Okay, well, that's interesting. I'm not sure. Is that something built into your radio?
No, this is what I'm doing external on the audio, Roger.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've run some of the different types of audio rack gear type of equipment in the past. And to be honest with you, Jim, I've found that with the Anon software, just plugging the microphone straight into the radio and using the EQ tools and compression tools that Anon has to offer, I cannot get any better quality as far as transmit audio. Now, with that said, they also have receive EQ tools, although I don't really run those. I just run the audio straight into my speakers and take whatever it is I get.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I'm running a 7300 here, and I don't use the noise limiter or what's the other thing there? Gosh, impulse noise reduction. I don't use any reduction or filtering. It's just as flat as you can be, Roger.
Oh, Roger that. Well, yeah, and that's good. I mean, sometimes you have to if there's some type of power line noise or some other type of interference, but it's always nice when you don't have to use that.
Yes, sir. And I want to give somebody a good example of what they're really doing as opposed to what my receiver's doing to modify their signal. So I just want to be as transparent as I can be, Roger.
Roger, and I appreciate you putting those out on YouTube that way. When you're recording them on the internet, now where are you grabbing that audio from?
It comes out of the speaker out, just coming out of the speaker out, and it goes into a 6-way switch rotary switch, and I have my SDRs coming up there too. So I've got 5 internet SDRs there, plus my local receiver, and so I can just zing around on a rotary switch and just find out the hottest signal in like 2 seconds, Roger.
Ah, roger that. Well, that's a good way to do it. I must admit, I keep our Dahlonega, Georgia SDR station live on my computer while I'm on the radio because I often record snippets of conversation just to make sure that what I'm doing audio-wise sounds okay. So I will record it, download it, and play it back. And also, I can forward that file to others, too, if someone's interested in what their audio sounds like.
Yeah, roger that, roger that. Well, I started with one SDR. I started with just a computer, and then I had another computer, so I had 2 SDR internet receivers, and then I started to go to tablets, Amazon Fire tablets. So I've got 6 Amazon Fire tablets that I use now.
Oh, how clever. A more cost-effective way of doing that, I suppose.
Oh, yeah. The levels all work out. I just turn them all up, max out, no distortion, and I just match my receiver audio to those 5, and they're, just beautiful, Roger.
Oh, roger that. Well, you've got good audio there, Jim. I know often you ask your call-ins to explain their equipment. What microphone are you using?
This is a homebrew condenser mic, electret condenser mic, going into the preamp. What is the preamp? I have a mental block now, but it's a little box preamp there, and then into a 3rd octave equalizer, and then into the radio, and it splits right there. It goes one side goes to the radio, and it comes on around to the mixer that's working into the video, Roger.
Oh, roger that. Well, it sounds good. You've got that adjusted quite nicely as well. Of course, I would expect nothing less, but your signal is good also. So anyway, we've got a direct path this way, but there may be some others out there that would like to check in with you and see what their audio sounds like. So why don't we take a pause and give me a break to catch my breath as well. And also for a quick station ID, this is KW4EX.
Roger 4EX, this is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If anybody's got a radio they want to check out, give me a shout.
Radio they want to check out, give me a shout.
Zulu November, come back slowly phonetically with your call sign.
Zulu November, come back slowly phonetically with your call sign. That is Charlie 0 Zulu November.
Roger Zulu November, what's the name there?
Roger Zulu November, what's the name there? The name here is Ron, Romeo Oscar November, and it's not the first time I've been on 40 meters in about 25 years.
Well, welcome aboard there. This is the Qso-Vlog net. We primarily help folks set up their transmitters to get maximum capability out of that, Roger.
To get maximum capability out of that, Roger. Roger. I am in, my little QSO is Crystal Lake, Illinois, and what's your call sign and QSL there?
Roger. This is KC9VKV. That's Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and we're located just across the Ohio River from Louisville, Kentucky. We're on the Indiana side of the Ohio River, right at Louisville. Roger.
We're on the Indiana side of the Ohio River, right at Louisville. Roger. Appreciate that. Okay, fairly good distance. I have been inactive for a very long time and just getting my rigs back up with a vertical that I haven't used in a long time, and really appreciate the content. a very long time on 40 meters. I took a long spell there where I was off, and now I'm finally getting back into ham radio now that I'm retired.
Roger, Roger, Ron, what radio are you running today, sir?
Roger, Roger, Ron, what radio are you running today, sir?
Okay, you will love this. It is an Atlas 350XL, if you are familiar with that.
I'm not. How old is that radio?
I'm not. How old is that radio?
This radio is a good 30 years old. It's newer than my other radio, which is a TS520S. That's my second radio.
Roger, Roger. Do you happen to know what your dynamic range is? Your setup as far as transmit. Are you in a 100 to 29, 27? Probably 300 to 2700.
What, 7? Probably 300 to 2700.
I'm sorry, there was a slight double there for KC0ZF.
Roger. Talk about your transmit bandwidth. The older radios do have more of a limited transmit bandwidth, like maybe a 300 to 2700 or thereabouts.
Bandwidth, like maybe a 300 to 2700 or thereabouts.
That very well could be true. I'd have to get back and look at the specs on this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, it sounded pretty good. Could use just a little more top end, EQ-wise, and more, about 3 clicks, more treble boost than where you are, Roger.
More treble boost than where you are, Roger.
You appreciate this.
All right, might have hit your VFO there.
I might have hit your VFO there.
Right, we're on 7188. 7188, Roger.
We're on 7188. 7188, Roger.
7188 now, thank you.
Roger, yes, sounds better. You were sounding a little droopy there for a minute.
Yeah, sounds better. You were sounding a little droopy there for a minute.
Okay, thank you very much. Hopefully it's better now.
Oh, yes, you're back on to frequency, and that radio's, like I say, it's just sounding beautiful. I think your dynamic range is about right as far as audio content. Your curve, like I was saying, needs just a little more top end for good articulation, Roger.
Just a little more top end for good articulation, Roger.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that and appreciate the report. KC0ZF.
Roger, Ron, if you want to hear your radio, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, followed by the word logbook, that will take you to this recording. It'll be cut number 1 in the series of 3200, and I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow, Roger.
200, and I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow, Roger.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Roger, sir. Well, you have a good day and a pleasant afternoon and a great weekend, Roger.
Pleasant afternoon and a great weekend, Roger.
You also, sir, appreciate it very much, and it's fun getting established here again. KC0ZF.
Roger. 73, sir. Catch you later. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Kilowatt 9, Oscar, Radio, November.
Oscar, Radio, November. Come back with the whole call sign, but phonetically.
Radio, November. Come back with the whole call sign, but phonetically.
Okay, it's Kilowatt 9, K9, Oscar, Radio, November. Name here is Brian, and I'm in Longford, Wisconsin, just southwest of Milwaukee here, and just came in from freezing my hands off outside raising my dipole up for the winter, and just wondering, it was perfect timing here. I heard you say your radio check
and make sure this antenna is actually doing something. It looks like the standing wave is okay, but it's not. So anyway, if you could tell me if you got a good copy on me and where you're at. Name here is Brian, and by the way, I'm running an old set of Drake twins, T4XC and an R4C. So back to you, KC9VKV, K9ORN.
Roger, Brian, it might be just a tad off frequency. I'm on 718800. 718800, Roger?
Okay, well, I was doing you into my ear. I have the analog dial here, so I can't get on frequency digitally, but it sounds like you sound good to me. I might be off, but again, I'm tuning by ear here.
Yes, sir. What radio is it you're running?
I'm running a Drake separate T4XC and the R4C receiver.
A T4 what?
A T4XC, the transmitter, and an R4C receiver.
Ah, so you're, let's see, that's, yeah, that radio's how old?
Oh, probably from the early 70s.
Yes, sir. A lot of folks are using frequency meters with those radios, and you can really, you know, you're like playing catch-up all the time, but with a frequency meter, you know exactly where you need to touch up, Roger.
Okay, yeah, I know. This is my backup radio. Like I said, I just put the antenna up this afternoon. I raised it up and getting ready for winter here, and this is my backup radio. I get on the air with usually Saturday mornings or whatever in the mornings, and for a Qso with my friends here in town. But anyway, the antenna's up, but I wasn't hearing much this afternoon, so I just wanted to make sure it's actually working.
Roger that, Roger that. And whereabouts are you located again?
I'm in Waterford, Wisconsin, about 25 miles southwest of Milwaukee.
Roger that. Yeah, I've got a couple of Drake pieces here, TR4Cs, and I don't use them anymore, but when I did, I probably did some work up on 10 meters, and that was really a push for that radio. 10 meters for Drake is really a stretch, Roger.
Yep, I know. That's why I'm running this one on 40, and I said I've got the amp. I have the L4B, but it's not on. But and I don't like to run it if I don't have to on with the wire antenna. I just don't want to do it. But this is my old backup. This is the first radio I had when I got my license back in the mid '80s. So I bought this setup, and I can't get rid of it. But it's good enough to use with my friends on a morning Qso net we have here on weekends. So. But I have to take my antenna down during the summer. I'm in an HOA area, and I can have it up in the winter, but not the summer. So anyway, it just went up today. Unfortunately, that's where I'm at here, out in the country on 2 acres, and I can't have an antenna farm out here. K9ORN.
Roger, Brian. Well, my radio was a gift also when we first got into amateur radio. I'd seen there was an ad on a internet for somebody had a TR4C for sale, and I looked at that radio. I was just getting into amateur radio, and I looked at that radio, and boy, I just knew what every dial did, and I just wished I could buy that radio. And I tried, and the guy never responded to me. I guess he already had sold it, but I went ahead and got my license, and as I was leaving the place where I took the license, I said, does anybody happen to know where I might be able to get a used TR4C? And one of the engineers that gave me the test said, I've got a deal you can't refuse. I've got one I'll give to you. And he did, and over a period of 3 days, it had been in mothballs for about 10 years. And over a period of 3 days, we brought it up put lamps in series with the AC and brought it up very slowly voltage-wise. And about the third day, we dumped all the lights and went full blast, and it just worked beautifully and worked for many years that way. And then eventually I stopped using that. My Elmer gave me another radio, so I've just been very fortunate to get some great radios. Roger.
Right, I know. This is nice. It has all the filters and everything in it. I don't use it that much. It's more or less sentimental. I had it early. I bought it cheap back into the 80s when everybody was getting rid of their... Oh, yes, the dog has to go out. The vintage gear. And was buying all the solid state gear and just getting my license. I said, this is it. In fact, today I have a TR7 also, and I turned it on to test the antenna out here, and it didn't work. So I don't like that. I don't know what the deal was. It had a carrier in there, so something. It had a carrier in there, so something got. It started up and it was working perfect, and all of a sudden it just died. So. Like you said, this one was kind of in mothballs on the corner of the table, and I pushed it out into the middle and switched antennas and put it on and getting myself ready for tomorrow afternoon with the guys. So, anyway, these were fantastic. But again, tubes and all parts and everything else, that's why it's kind of, once in a while I turn it on just to blow the spiders out of it. It's covered up usually, but I have an E97 and an FTDX10, and that's my regular radios, but I said on the net on a Saturday with the wire, I'm going to use this one. The other one's on the vertical, but I have to go out. The dog is down here pushing on my arm, which means she's got to go outside, and at least you can hear me. I appreciate it, and hopefully I got your call right at KC9VKV, and I'm going to have to let you go on this one and head on upstairs before she chews my arm off here. So 7-3, and thank you for the report. And I had just turned it on, so hopefully I'm not drifting too bad yet, and trying to keep touching it up. KC9VKV, K9ORN, 7-3 there on your final.
Roger, Brian. Well, I think you're drifting back almost to a perfect frequency. I think that radio is drifting back to on frequency right at the end of our QSO. But if you want to hear your audio, if you go to YouTube and do a call, let us search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook. It'll take you right to this recording, and I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow. Roger.
Okay, I heard you tell the gentleman before, and I will check that out. I want to hear what the radio sounds like. I'm running an old 10DA microphone on here, so it's nothing special. And believe me, when you first start out, you buy everything that was cheap, and it was cheap, and it worked great. So I haven't touched it. It's been the same way since I bought it in the 80s. So, okay, I'm going to go. I got to go. She's staring at me here. 7-3, take care. K9 Warren.
Roger, Brian. 73, sir. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Check out, give me a shout.
Whiskey Bravo number 8, Romeo India Mike.
Romeo India Mike. Give me your call sign phonetically slowly.
Phonetically slowly.
Okay, the call is Whiskey Bravo number 8 for Romeo India Mike. The handle is Lee, Lima Echo Lee, on an FTDX10, a brand new one, over.
Roger on that FTDX10. Let me make that note. And what's your location, Lee?
And what's your location, Lee?
Bloomingdale, Ohio, which is about 20 miles west of Steubenville, Ohio, over.
Roger, Lee. Well, why don't you give me about 10 or 15 seconds, tell me about your antenna system, and I'll look around and see if I can find a better path for us, Roger.
Look around and see if I can find a better path for us, Roger.
Okay, your antenna over here. I'm on a double extender. My antenna system, right now I'm on a double extended zip for 40, and I have a LDG RT100 at the bottom of it, so I can go 160 through 6 meters. I also have a end-fed half wave for my antennas, 80 through 10. And I also have up a cobweb antenna I just put up about a month and a half ago. So they all work really good. Over.
Roger, and I guess you have a rotary switch to control all those?
Roger, and I guess you have a rotary switch to control all those?
Yeah, I have a heat kit rotary switch, and then I have a Daiwa 2-position coaxial switch that I switch between the end-fed half wave or the cobweb antenna and the double extended zip. So I'm only using one control box for both LDG tuners. Over.
Roger that. Well, you know, options, the name of the game, the more options you have, the better things are, you know?
The more options you have, the better things are, you know?
Yeah. I also changed the coax. I went I can't think of the name. It's Orion wired cable. Now, I think it was Davis RF. And changed everything to RG8X low loss. Over.
Roger. I think I have the original RG8. I went to a Hamfest in Indianapolis one time, and this amateur group was selling coax that had been used in their repeater operation, and I think it was like $10 100 foot. So I bought about $50 worth, and boy, that was the best deal I ever got.
$50 worth, and boy, that was the best deal I ever got.
Oh yeah. I was going to do an experiment, Jim. I have a 1,000-foot roll of RG6 satellite cable, and I have the SO239 to F connector adapters, and I was running the cable loss on the coax calculator on the internet, and even with the 1.5 to 1 SWR, the RG6 showed a better loss, not as much as RG8. I didn't do it, but it's there if I want to. Over.
Yes, sir. Well, that RG, was it RG6?
Yes, sir. Well, that RG, was it RG6?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. That's good for just under a kilowatt. You get too much over a kilowatt, and you're going to have some spaghetti there. But under a kilowatt sideband, it does all right. I think I was running some of that fairly well until I stayed too long at the tune-up point, and it did. Some of it did turn to spaghetti, Roger.
It did. Some of it did turn to spaghetti, Roger.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm not capable of anything more than 100 watts right now, so maybe next year I'll have me a Mercury 3 and the automatic antenna tuner. But I just got this rig here, so I can't spend no more. Over.
Roger. Now, I used RG6 a lot. I did antenna building for UHF, VHF, and I used RG6, and it was just beautiful. But I had control over my SWR, as far as adjusting the SWR, so I didn't have to worry about that. So I don't know if it really, point to point without any correction. I don't know how it went, but I do know as the way I used it, it just worked beautifully. Very low loss.
It just worked beautifully. Very low loss.
I should have used it instead of buying a roll of RG8X, but I thought about it. I'm thinking everything here, the antenna tuner and stuff, was 50 ohms, and I didn't want to take a chance of messing things up, so that's why I went with the RG8X. But maybe if I ever change this out in another 10 or 15 years, I'll put the RG6 up. I am using a Shure 444D with this rig. Does it sound okay? Over.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very good. Your audio curve is most excellent. Your audio level is most excellent. So I think you'll enjoy your recording, Roger.
It's most excellent, so I think you'll enjoy your recording, Roger.
Okay, there's no processing on. What I did, I went to the internet and looked at N4HNH, his video on the FTDX10 setting up the audio, and I used his settings and just a couple little tweaks. Over.
Roger, Roger. Well, it could use a little more top end, but it's beautiful the way it is, Roger. It's very intelligible. No problem there at all.
The way it is, Roger. It's very intelligible. No problem there at all.
Okay, I mean, I got the bandwidth, the lower end at 300 and the higher end at 2600 on the regular mic, and if I turn the processor on, the low end is 300 and the high end is 2400. So that's what he had in his, so that's what I put in mine. But I can change it. I can go to 2800. Over.
Roger. Well, we suggest 100 to 2900. 100 to 2900, and that gives you just a slice of daylight to keep from disturbing somebody else's conversation. So ideally 100 to 2900 as far as the transmit bandwidth, Roger?
2900 as far as the transmit bandwidth, Roger.
Okay, there's 100 to 2900. Did that do anything? Over?
Yes, sir. That helps your top end a great deal. You're much more clear now in the upper treble areas, Roger.
In the upper treble areas, Roger.
Okay, I'll leave it there for a while, and I'm running the ALC level about between 3/4 and full scale. That's where he said to run it. I got my mic gain set at 10. I mean, it's a real sensitive microphone. If I go more than that, I'm driving it clear over overdrive. So 10 is the mic level. Over.
Roger. Now, do you have an external volume for that microphone, or is that a fixed level microphone coming in at a 10?
A fixed level microphone coming in at a 10.
It's fixed level. It's a dual impedance on the high impedance end, I think, right now, but it's fixed. Over.
Yeah, well, I'd run it just like that. 10's a little hot. When you get down to 10 and 5s and areas like that, you stand a chance of overloading that front-end preamp on the transmitter, Roger.
Stand a chance of overloading that front-end preamp on the transmitter, Roger.
Okay, I mean, I can back my mic gain down a little bit. Right now, 10. Okay, and there's 8. It's only driving at about half scale. Over.
Roger, but the problem, the thing is that level comes right to your preamp, and then that volume control that you're adjusting is after the preamp. So, the distortion would happen in that first stage of the audio. That's why it's good to ideally have that mic input level at about a 5, medium gain on your audio input, and then make everything coming into that match that 5 on your ALC for mid scale, and then you're well out of distortion, Roger.
And then you're well out of distortion, Roger.
Okay, I guess I can build something and do that. I'm talking away from the mic now. I'm about 6 inches away and not really hitting it too hard. Does that change anything? Over.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And what's your mic level?
Sounds good. Sounds good. And what's your mic level?
Mic level is 10. Over.
Yeah, you'd probably be okay at 10, but if you get much below 10, you could be headed for distortion. Probably would be a good idea if you're familiar with resistor bridges and all that stuff. Is that an electret microphone or dynamic?
Resistor bridges and all that stuff. Is that an electret microphone or dynamic?
It's a dynamic mic. Over.
Yes, sir. Well, a simple H resistive pad could bring it down there to about a 4 or 5 on your mic input level, and that would be would ensure that you're well within range without having to worry about overdriving that first part of the preamp.
That first part of the preamp. Okay, I have a book that's got all that stuff in it, and you can change the different resistors for different dB levels. I'll have to check it out. I'll make one more test with you, and then I'll get out of here and let you pick somebody else up. I'm going to turn the processor on and see what that does.
WCBLS, radio check.
Station was not sure. Was that the party I was talking to that wants a radio check?
Was that the party I was talking to that wants a radio check? Yeah, is that a copy on me, over?
Yes, who is that that wants a copy?
Yes, who is that that wants a copy? This is Eric, Whiskey 7, Echo Lima Sierra.
Roger, Eric, we're just wrapping up here on the net. I'm actually 10 minutes over, but Lee wanted to check out something on his compressor, so we're just hanging in right now for him, Roger.
We're just hanging in right now for him, Roger. Yes, I apologize. I just want to break in because you guys just got this stuff hooked up, and want to see if I could make a few contacts anyway. 73, yeah. Sounding good. This ain't West Kentucky.
Roger, sound pretty good right now. I could maybe look around a little bit, and you would be probably better. But I'm copying you now on my Georgia SDR, and you're sounding about 8 over. Roger.
My Georgia SDR, and you're sounding about 8 over. Roger. Yeah, copy that. Okay, guys, I'll let y'all get back at it. Maybe send me ELF. I'll be clear.
Roger. So that way your last time was about a 10 over.
Figured out how to turn the thing on, and the processor is on number 3. Does that do anything?
Come back and tell me about your antenna system.
I'm on a double extended ZEP for 40 meters right now. I have my antenna is end-fed half-wave, and also have a cobweb antenna, over.
Yeah, I think that's fine. That's fine. There's no pumping. I hear nothing, that is a 3 that you're running, Roger.
I hear nothing, that is a 3 that you're running, Roger.
Yes, but the cutoff is at 2600 on the high end, over.
Oh, really? You can't, you can't adjust your transmit bandwidth manually?
Adjust your transmit bandwidth manually?
Yes, I can. I'm going to that right now. The PP, here we are, 20. Okay. There's 2800. There's 2800, over.
Can you go to 29?
Can you go to 29?
There's 2900, over.
Well, there you go. And what's your bottom, 100?
Oh, there you go. And what's your bottom, 100?
The bottom is, let me get down, it's 300, over.
Okay, go ahead and take that down to 100, and let me hear what it sounds like.
Okay, go ahead and take that down to 100, and let me hear what it sounds like.
Okay, there is 100 for the bottom end. 100 and 2900, over.
Boy, that sounds really nice, Roger.
Okay, well, I'll lock her down there. I did write down all the original settings, and I'm going to note in what I have it now, and we'll keep it like that until I get a different microphone. Like I say, this is an old Shure 444D from back in the 70s, but it works pretty good. I kind of like the looks of it, over.
Roger. Well, I would keep that 100 to 2900 and solve any problems by your manual EQ or your EQ pad, Roger.
Manual EQ or your EQ pad, Roger.
Okay, well, I'll lock her down here, and that's where we'll sit. So with that, I'll say 73. Thank you very much for the help. I'll turn it back to you to pick somebody else up. And happy Thanksgiving. Over.
Roger, Roger. Well, we're going to head for the shed here. We're about 15 minutes past our net time, but good to talk at you. If you want to hear your audio and hear our experiments, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook, that will take you to this recording. It'll be cut number 1 in a series of 3200, and I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow. Roger?
Series of 3200, and I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow. Roger?
Okay, got all that down, and thank you very much.
Roger, Roger Lee, 73, sir. You have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend. This is the Qso-Vlog, KC9VKV Qso-Vlog for Friday, and if you've participated and wanted to hear your audio, if you go to YouTube and do that call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook, that will take you to this recording, and again, we will have it uploaded to YouTube by noon tomorrow. So with all that being said, we got to get out of here and return this frequency back to normal amateur radio use. This is KC9VKV Clear.